Ohio's 529 College Advantage, helping families save tax-free for college and career training nationwide for 35 years. Information on Ohio's 529 can be found at collegeadvantage.com/Bobcats. Support comes from O'Neill Hartman Insurance, a full-service, third-generation, locally owned agency focusing on building personal relationships and providing professional service to individuals and businesses. Information on the web and on Facebook. Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient Tempstar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring Tempstar quality you can feel. Additional support from Donato's Pizza, featuring pizza, subs, salads, and catering from their Athens location at 688 East State Street. Information at donatospizza.com or 740-592-5049.
Tonight on Gridiron Glory, we rewind the 2024 season and take a look at how all the teams in our coverage performed. Plus, in our Game of the Week, Ironton and Wheelersburg rematch, but this time, the winner books a trip to the state Final Four.
But in the main event, we reveal our all-GG offense, defense, and of course, Player of the Year. The hour-long season finale of Gridiron Glory starts right now.
I can't believe it's already been 14 weeks, but here we are. This is it. We've got a handful of Player of the Year candidates in studio with us for the Gridiron Glory Season 25 finale. I'm your host, Haley Hollinger. Thank you for joining us this evening and this season. This year, we've witnessed the rise of so many great players, teams, and coaches. But there's only one Player of the Year and one Coach of the Year, which will be revealed tonight. In addition to that, we'll talk about the two teams still alive in the playoffs, reveal our all-GG teams, and recap all the action we saw in the 2024 season from Fan of the Week to our top plays of the year, plus how the year ended for the conferences in our coverage. But without further ado, the first conference we have to discuss is the SOC-II. These guys always have an exciting race to the top, and this year was no different. SOC reporter Donovan Vardy has the complete rundown.
Thanks, Haley, and yes, I do. The SOC is one of the most competitive conferences in our coverage area. This season, we had a back-to-back champ, a three-way tie for third, and three playoff teams that made it to at least the second round. Let's take a look at how things wrapped up.
Headlining the SOC for the second year in a row and 37th time in school history are the Wheelersburg Pirates. Despite starting the season 0-3 for the first time since 1969, this Pirates team sailed through conference play, defeating SOC teams by an average of 34 points per game next season. In second place are the Portsmouth West Senators. The tandem backfield of Mason Parker and Anthony Bishop not only both secured over 1,000 yards on the ground this season, but 2 home playoff games. With Bishop returning, this Senators team won't lose a step next season. In a three-way tie for third, we have Northwest, Waverly, and Valley. The Mohawks finished with a 6-4 record after only winning 3 games the year prior. The catalyst for this team, senior running back Carter Runyon. For Waverly, they finish at 5-5 and will have some work to do next season. The Tigers graduate their quarterback Mason Kelly, as well as his 2 favorite targets, Mason Pollard and Cody Swords. The Valley Indians record does not do this team justice. Finishing the season at 3-7, but losing 3 games by only 1 score, these guys out in Lucasville have a lot to look forward to. And in 6th and 7th place, it's Minford and Oak Hill. Both teams entered this season with new head coaches and lots to adjust. They also both finished 1-9, but Minford edged out Oak Hill 22-21 in a Week 4 thriller.
All in all, a fun season of SOC action, and speaking of that, the conference champs are still rolling.
That they are. Wheelersburg is back in another regional finals match.
Yep, and that is against none other than the Ironton Fighting Tigers. They faced off in a Week 1 matchup that had us all on the edge of our seat, but a 3-touchdown, 100-plus yard performance by Shaun Terry would all but seal the deal. Ironton may have won 37-7, but the playoffs are a different beast. While these rivals already saw each other this year and 35 times before that, tonight they meet at their largest stage to date. Both teams enter this one on a 7-game win streak, so let's take it back over to Haley to see who takes this one.
Thanks, Donovan. And joining us now live to tell us how round 2 went is Lucy Schaefer. Lucy?
Haley, from weeks 1 to 14, it's not a shock that both of these teams have surprised all of Southeast Ohio. Now, even though Wheelersburg began their season on a 3-game losing streak, the Pirates, like Donovan said, have had smooth sailing on a 7-game win streak now. And as for the Tigers, it's been much of the same, scoring around 47 points per game. But in tonight's regional final, those two high-powered offenses will be matching up and will be put to the test. First drive of the game for Ironton, and it's Braden Schreck to Shaun Terry, who takes it and dodges not 1, but 2, but 4 Berg defenders to find that end zone. 6 minutes into the game, 7-0 Tigers early. First play of the next Tiger drive, and it's Schreck to Terry, again leaping for it, showing it's dangerous to even let him get the ball. 14-0 Tigers, and 2 scores for Terry before the end of the first. Berg's next drive showing some life, but it's cut short by Josh Johnson, who takes that one 58 yards to the house. And Haley, with this pick 6, those Tigers are not backing down. Ironton again on offense, and it's Schreck who decides to take it himself here, 28-0, 2 minutes before halftime. Berg again unable to convert, and it's Schreck to who else but Shaun Terry way downfield just seconds before half. This sends the Tigers into the locker room up 34-0. Third quarter, and the Tigers just keep rolling. Zane Williams, and this time, and is he down here? Definitely not. Spectacular move by the junior running back, and it's 41-0. Into the fourth quarter, and it's sophomore Caden Edwards behind the line, showing he'll be leading this Tiger team just fine next year. One more score, a pick 6 by Tyler Carmen, and the Tigers topple the Pirates again 55-0 and take home the Region 19 championship. Touchdown after touchdown, and all season we've discussed the depth of this team, Haley.
We've talked about it all season for sure, but who were the standouts tonight?
We've seen Shaun Terry just blow minds all season, and somehow it's gotten even more impressive as the season has progressed. Throughout the playoff run, Josh Johnson has also been a star with that pick 6 tonight. And Zane Williams and Caden Edwards are just 2 names that you won't be hearing just this year, but also next year.
What led Berg not being able to get their offense going?
The offensive and defensive performances from the Tigers stunted the Pirates. They were unable to move the ball against a line and a secondary that seemed to know what move they were going to make before they did it. But Berg had one impressive season. Making it to the regional finals is no easy task. Behind Braylon Rucker, this team upset number 3 Barnesville, number 11 Union Local, and number 7 West Muskingum in the playoffs, and they're returning a lot of talent next year.
Definitely, but let's talk a little bit about next week.
Ironton will play second-seeded West Liberty Salem out of Region 20 in the state semifinal, and this will be their highest-ranked opponent in the playoff run to date. Now, as we talked about, there have been a lot of standout players for this team, and to name just one, Shaun Terry.
Yeah, Lucy, and that's exactly why he's up for Gridiron Glory Player of the Year. Terry, that's... Now, Terry's been instrumental all season, especially in Ironton's playoff run.
Yeah, Haley, and I got the chance to sit down with him post-game to get some season and some insight. So, great win tonight. How does it feel to be the regional champion?
It feels really good to be the regional champion, obviously, but like we're not satisfied. I mean, yeah, we can be good for tonight, but like we want the ultimate goal, a state championship.
And then, what kind of inspires you to work so hard when you're out here on the field?
Just because obviously I'm not the biggest guy on the field. I'm not going to be the fastest. I'm not going to be all that, but like it's just being relentless. Relentless is one of my favorite words, and that's what really inspires me. Go hard on the football field.
Tell me a little bit about your mentality coming into games like these.
Games like this is just like, I mean, you win or you go home. Like, and we don't want to go home. We don't want the season to go in because we know this is a special team right here.
Yeah, and you obviously play a lot of positions when it comes to this field. What is your favorite to play and why?
Definitely have to be a wide receiver. It feels good to score touchdowns.
What is your favorite memory about being a part of this team?
Favorite memory about being on this team is just the work in the summer, just like seeing like us like just love it. Like most teams would like hate to come at 5 a.m., do all these hill sprints and stuff, but like our team, we love it, and that's the best part about it.
Finally, what would it mean to you to win Gridiron Glory Player of the Year?
Like I said, it's nothing but a blessing from the man above. I'll give all the glory to him, and that would just, it would mean the world to me.
From 2019 to 2023, the Fighting Tigers were conference champions in the OVC. But this year, they're no longer a part of the conference. So Caleb McCleskey is here to tell us all about how the OVC battle looked this year.
Thanks, Haley. With the perennial frontrunner out of the way, practically every team stepped up for a chance to snag the conference title. Competitive is an understatement. First is the Fairland Dragons, having a 6-0 conference record, earning their first OVC title since 2013. The Dragons finished the regular season with 9 wins and ultimately fell to West Muskingum in the second round of the playoffs. Next up in the standings is the Portsmouth Trojans. The Trojans would only have one conference loss this year against Fairland in a Week 7 overtime thriller. Third in the conference are the Coal Grove Hornets. After being 7th in the standings last season, the Hornets would rise 4 spots and get 3 additional conference wins this year. Rock Hill has the 4th spot in the standings. With a career year by senior running back Anthony Stamper, Rock Hill would pick up 3 conference wins. The Chesapeake Panthers had the 5th spot in the conference, winning 2 conference games this season. Taking 6th in the conference are the Galley Academy Blue Devils, getting 1 in-conference win against South Point, their only win this season. Rounding out the conference standings is the South Point Pointers. Even though the Pointers would not have a conference win this season, they had 1 out-of-conference win against Sims Valley.
In addition to some exciting football, the OVC also brought some of my favorite stops for Fan of the Week this year. But of course, we know the best high school football fans in Ohio live all across the SCO. And if you don't believe me, well, let's roll the tape.
It looks like we're here with, like, the bald eagle of America. Yeah. Okay. You came on the same boat as Uncle Sam and George Washington.
I did.
Oh, my God. What did you just do with that tire, man?
Lift it.
Can you do it again?
Well, that one, yeah.
Okay, let's go lift it. You don't want to watch the game?
No, we don't care about it.
You don't care about the game?
No, I just came here to run around with my friends.
What's so special about the hat?
Well, every time we lose, which I have to burn the hat.
Tim, you got to sign this too.
First name and last name.
Okay. You told me that you were probably the biggest Jackson fan. Why is that?
Because I never miss a game.
Never?
Ever.
We're going to keep going. What are you training for, man?
Just football.
Where did you get your branch, dude? It fell. Okay, so you're telling me you didn't break that off on your own?
Let's go.
You just do that all the time?
No, anytime I see a tire, I'll just lift it.
All right. Rock on, dude. Are you enjoying your time here tonight?
Yes, I am. This afternoon when I saw the wind and saw all the rain and everything, I thought, oh, baby, I don't know whether I want to come to this or not.
I feel like Chris Farley now. Big guy in a little shirt. Down by the river.
Well, what a way to recap the fun we've had with all of you this season. We can't thank you enough. But speaking of recaps, Shane Scalfaro joins us now to talk about 2024 for the TVC-Ohio.
Haley, the Ohio had no shortage of action this season, even ending with a thriller in Week 10 to decide the conference winner. Let's see how the TVC-Ohio turned out. At the top of the TVC-Ohio is the Nelsonville York Buckeyes. The Buckeyes finished the season at 8-3 and averaged about 28 points per game en route to a conference crown, and they will look to repeat next season. Next up is the Athens Bulldogs. The Bulldogs were 1 game away from finishing with a perfect regular season record. They're now graduating 16 seniors, including all-star running back Alex Piro. Both Vinton County and Meigs came into this season with new head coaches and ended 3rd and 4th respectively. With their first years under their belts, both teams look to make a jump forward next season. Under second-year coach Chris Graham, Wilson finished 5-5 and 5th in conference. The Golden Rockets will lose some key seniors, but will look to improve like they did this season. Alexander finished this season at 3-7. The Spartans are graduating Gridiron Glory Player of the Year finalist and do-it-all linebacker Isaac Waller, and will look to retool their squad. The River Valley Raiders didn't have the season they were looking for, but with a year under his belt, Coach Steve Macavina will look to build on what they did in his first year at the helm.
What a year for the Ohio, and a player on one of those teams is a Player of the Year finalist.
And he's the only defensive player on the list. It's Alexander Spartans linebacker Isaac Waller. I'm now joined by Isaac Waller. So I want to start with this. What's the feeling tonight as we're sitting and waiting for the Player of the Year to be announced?
It's a really good feeling. It's good to finally have all the hard work paid off and hopefully win tonight.
So what would winning this award mean to you?
It would mean so much to me because of all the work I've put in and all the work that all the people that support me have also put in the offseason.
And then how would you describe your play style? And is there a player that you kind of model your game after?
I would say my play style is 100% effort all the time, just no matter what side of the ball, if I have the ball or not. One of my favorite players is Ray Lewis, obviously. So, and I have a face mask that is very similar to his. So
very nice. Now, the only defensive player to ever win this award, 2005. What would it mean to be that second player to win as a defensive player?
It would be a really big honor because defense is my favorite part of the game, and I think it's the most important part of the game.
And along with that, last time a TVC player won, 2019. How would it feel to bring one home for the conference?
It would be a really big honor, especially representing Alexander.
And then, is there a better feeling? Which one is better, blocking a kick or getting a sack?
Blocking a kick is definitely a treat when it happens.
Awesome. Well, hey, I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and good luck in your future endeavors. Haley, back to you.
Thanks, Shane, and we appreciate it, Isaac. Since we're talking about getting it done in the trenches, there's some other guys who have been putting in work as well, which means it's time to roll out the all-GG defense.
Starting off our all-Gridiron Glory defensive team is Alexander linebacker Isaac Waller. Waller recorded 162 total tackles, 5 sacks, 1 interception, 3 punt blocks, 4 forced fumbles, and 3 recoveries, as well as being placed on the all-district first-team defense.
Next up, we have senior linebacker from Athens, Seth Hart. Hart got first-team TVC-Ohio and first-team all-district in his final season. The Bulldogs linebacker was the backbone of this strong defense. Athens went 9-1 and only gave up 8.1 points per game.
Our next hard-hitting linebacker is Owen Thompson of Warren. The senior has been a key cog in the Warriors' defense for a while now, and this year was no different. Thompson accounted for 137 total tackles, 22 of which were for a loss. He also accumulated 5 sacks as the Warriors finished with a 7-3 regular season record.
Following Thompson is Bryce Perkins, a linebacker and lineman for Logan Elm. This season, Perkins tallied 77 solo tackles, 114 total tackles, and 7 tackles for loss. Perkins' offensive efforts as a lineman earned him MSL Lineman of the Year, whereas his defensive play earned him first team All-MSL.
Up next is Portsmouth West powerhouse linebacker Tilton Rapp. Rapp is an impressive asset to the Portsmouth West defense. This season, Rapp racked up 119 tackles, 1 sack, 4 pass deflections, and was named first team all-district, and he's only a sophomore.
Another stellar linebacker is Phelan's Quentin Cremens, who racked up 101 total tackles to lead the OVC, plus having an interception and 2 forced fumbles, helping the Dragons make it all the way to the regional quarterfinals, ending the year by making the all-OVC first team.
Next for our all-GG linebackers is Hunter Collins. He showed out in his senior year for the Wellston Golden Rockets. He recorded 104 tackles, 25 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 12 sacks. This earned Collins first-team All-TVC-Ohio linebacker and first-team defense for Division V Southeast District team.
The final all-GG linebacker spot goes to Hudson Williams, a sophomore from Zane Trace who totaled 143 total tackles, including 7.5 tackles for loss. This impressive sophomore campaign granted him a first-team All-SVC nomination.
The next defensive player on our list is Unioto senior Marcel James. James had a dominant defensive season for the Shermans, racking up 62 total tackles, 16.5 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. James also took home Division IV Southeast District Co-Defensive Player of the Year.
The next defensive lineman on our list is senior Tristan Wood. The 6'3" senior from Valley was a force to be reckoned with in the trenches. On his way to a dominant senior season, he elevated the defense and even pulled in an all-district honor in Division VI.
Next up is a big man from Ironton, Aiden Lane. His size and skill at the line puts opposing defenses in a hole. Lane's special leadership earned himself District Lineman of the Year honors and first-team All-District honors in Division V.
Next up on the All-Gridiron Glory team is Zane Trace defensive lineman Evan Brower. Brower stuffed the stat sheet this season with 75 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. This notched him first-team All-Conference and District in the SVC.
Next on the defensive line is Fort Fry's Braxton Ross, an absolute force off the edge for the cadets. Making the All-Eastern District Division VI first team, Ross had 143 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles through 13 games.
Next up, we have defensive lineman Colton Ward from the Trimble Tomcats.
Ward scored 1 touchdown in the Tomcats game against the River Valley Raiders and made all Southeast District Football's Division VII first team defense.
The first defensive back on our list is senior Anthony Stamper. He was dominant on defense for the Rock Hill Redmen, ending the year with 73 total tackles, with 52 being solo, as well as 7 interceptions. He was named the OVC Defensive Player of the Year, as well as picking up his second consecutive first-team All-OVC.
Now number 8 from Ironton, Division V Southeast District Defensive Player of the Year, Josh Johnson. Johnson left a mark on the Tigers' defense last year, and he rounded it out with his remarkable senior season. He had 45 tackles, with 24 of them being solo. Other teams were just scared to let the ball go his way.
Joining our All-Gridiron Glory defensive team is Eastern back Gavin Murphy. The Eagle recorded 12 tackles for loss on 73 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, and 5 interceptions. Murphy leads the conference in interceptions and won the TVC Defensive Player of the Year award.
Next up, we have another dominant defensive back, Unioto's Caden Cutright. In his senior season, Cutright posted 7 interceptions and earned a spot on the All-SVC first team. Cutright finished the season as Unioto's all-time leader in interceptions with 15 and helped the team win the SVC conference outright.
Up next is Wheelersburg's own Kenyon Evans. He is a junior who kept the other team's offense in check. He plays both sides of the ball and even was named first team offense for receiver, while having 62 tackles, 8 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, and 1 pass deflection, with 1 forced fumble and a fumble recovery to end the season.
Lane Bear was a force for the Waverly Tigers as a defensive back this year. The Tigers defensive back compiled 74 tackles, helping to earn his spot as a first-team All-District defensive back in Southeast Ohio. Bear and company helped Waverly upset Fairfield Union on the road in the playoffs.
Our second to last defensive back is Ironton's Bryson Mullins. He had a breakout sophomore season, racking up 33 solo tackles and 61 total. He also got the ball back, leading the team with 5 interceptions and 3 forced fumbles. He played an essential role in Ironton's run to the regional final and earned an all-district special mention.
Rounding out our defensive backs is senior Logan Dowdy. He ended his senior season with the Miller Falcons, picking up 53 total tackles, 40 of them being solo, 6.5 tackles for loss, and 7 interceptions, averaging 17 yards after each one. He did all this while also being the Falcons' starting quarterback.
And to cap us all off, it's none other than Bloomco's punter and kicker, Trayton McKee. The senior was 6 of 7 on field goals and 50 of 60 on PATs this season. He also averaged 42.7 yards on his punts, as well as being named to the first team All-District.
And quite a few of the players on that list are from the always competitive SVC. So let's get into it with none other than Zach Knight.
Thanks, Haley. The SVC was quite the conference to watch this season. We saw plenty of ups and downs, leading to a 3-way race to the top in the final few weeks. Let's take a look at how the SVC shook out this year.
Starting at the top, the Unioto Shermans claimed their conference crown for the second year in a row, led by SVC Coach of the Year Matt Hoops. They finished the regular season with a 9-1 record, with their only loss coming in Week 2 to Amanda Clear Creek. Their season ended in Week 11 with a loss to West Holmes. Zane Trace is our runner-up for the second year in a row. They finished the season 6-5, and with a well-rounded Pioneer defense, they'll be looking to reclaim the throne for Unioto next year. The Piketon Red Streaks jumped up from last year into the upper echelon of the SVC, which they haven't done since 2021 when they won the conference. They wrapped up 7-4 overall, with 4 of those wins coming after their upset against Paint Valley in Week 7. Paint Valley went on a 6-game win streak to start their season and landed themselves 8th on the AP rankings in Division 6. But after an upset against Piketon and losses to Zane Trace and Unioto in the final weeks, they couldn't climb back. Westfall comes in 5th. They finished with a 4-6 record overall, scooping up 3 conference wins to end the season. Huntington picked up 3 wins this year and found themselves at 6th. They took Adena to overtime in Week 10 and were able to keep things close against Westfall. Adena was led by second-year coach Doug Miller, the first returning coach in 4 years. The Warriors found just 1 SVC win, but were able to pick up 2 out-of-conference wins in the first weeks. Finally, Southeastern rounds out the conference and was unable to pick up an SVC win, still looking for their first conference win since 2019.
From a conference with 8 teams to one with just half that, it's the TSL. And because the battle was between just 4 teams, the competition was all the more fierce. Who better to talk TSL than Ashley Fry?
Yeah, Haley, despite the TSL being a smaller conference, they have no issue with big competition. But now the dust from the season has settled, we've got to break it down a little bit more. TSL play began in Week 8, where Marietta fell to Fort Fry while Point Pleasant hosted Warren and won. Into Week 9, and Point Pleasant lost Marietta by 21 points, and Warren beat Fort Fry by 22. Week 10's games were battles for 2 titles. Fort Fry dominated at Point Pleasant, and Warren took a big win over at Marietta, making Fort Fry and Warren co-TSL conference champions. But aside from just the TSL title, all 4 of these teams dominated in their own respective ways this season. In Beverly, Fort Fry went 7-3 on the regular season and 9-3 overall, making this the Cadets' 13th winning season in a row. They averaged a dominant 30.3 points per game and hosted 2 playoff games. The Warren Warriors also went 7-3 in the regular season, gaining them their first winning season and playoff appearance since 2021. Now over in West Virginia, Point Pleasant also saw the playoffs for the first time since 2021 tonight. Point went 4-5 this season and beat rival Gallia Academy in the Battle of the Bridge for the first time in 2 years. Last but certainly not least is the Marietta Tigers. Their 6-4 regular season record brought the Tigers their first winning season since 2002. 22 years, and this was the team to break the cycle. You know, if the third time really is the charm, then I am very excited to see how the third season of the TSL shakes out.
I am too. Thanks so much, Ashley. Much like the TSL, the MSL-Cardinal was full of surprises and a couple historical achievements. Reporter Jake Collins has more.
Capturing their first MSL-Cardinal title in school history are the Grove City Christian Eagles. The historic season accomplished an 8-3 record and finished undefeated in conference play. This Eagles defense was statistically one of the best in our coverage area, allowing only 9 points per game and shut out 4 conference foes. But we can't ignore this explosive offense that won the game in the trenches. The front line, led by Jaden Patterson, created the movement up front that helped Caden Carroll rush for over 1,000 yards and 20 touchdowns this year. And second, the Miller Falcons, coached by Dominic Scott, obtained their first 10-win season ever and the program's first 2 playoff wins. Logan Dowdy and Xander Bice were the ultimate two-way players that led the Falcons to a regional semifinals appearance. Miller loses numerous stars, but Bice returns after leading the team with over 1,500 rushing yards and 100 total tackles. Tied for third was Bishop Rosecrans and Byrne Union. The Bishops finished with 6 wins for the first time in 7 years, and the Rockets finished 3-7, improving from their 2-win season in 2023. Tied for fifth was Fisher Catholic and Fairfield Christian Academy. Despite only achieving 2 conference wins, both squads made the playoffs. In 7th, Millersport finished winless in MSL-Cardinal play, but took a huge step forward in the program, as the Lakers ended a 21-game losing streak and finished the year 2-8.
Jake just talked about them briefly, but there was one team that unexpectedly passed numerous historic milestones, the Miller Falcons. In the past, they've had the mentality and physicality to go on a run, but they needed someone to help them put the pieces together.
That first elusive playoff game, that would be something special for these boys, and they can do it, but it's not going to be easy.
Dominic Scott and the Miller Falcons had one goal this season, history. But he was right, it wasn't going to be easy. In week 1, they faced Beaver Eastern, a team that hadn't lost a regular season game in over a year.
Well, they're a great team, and it's one of those things, you know, we have 2 tough scrimmages that'll get us ready for that game, because we know, you know, from the season they had the year before, that it's not going to be a small task for us to win that game.
They came close, falling 33-32 in double overtime, but the Falcons were just getting started.
They knew the expectations, what it was, and we came up short, but the kids were still hungry. The boys still wanted to keep playing and win games.
From there, Miller won 8 of their final 9 regular season games and clinched a home playoff game for the first time since 1999.
You know, coming to this year, I knew we could win a lot of games and do things, but my main goal was to get in front of our stands and play in front of these guys.
And they did not disappoint, beating Southern 27-16 to claim Miller's first playoff win in their 61-year history. But the story was not over. Miller then earned their first road win in the playoffs in 10-win season ever. Scott saw they were ready to go.
These guys showed up every day. They watched film. We had 2 of the best practices we had all year long. So these guys want to play and they want to keep playing. So yeah, I think they want to keep making history.
In the regional semifinals, their magic ride came to a halt 46-6 to Danville. But Scott was proud of the standard they set.
I'm excited to now move forward, look to the off season and continue. You know, we're not happy with just winning 2 playoff games. Hopefully win even more and just keep going further into the playoffs. You know,
this season was to Scott
special. I think that's what people will say about this is a special season.
And now joining us is our 2024 Gridiron Glory Coach of the Year, Dominic Scott. Coach Scott, thank you so much for joining us. And here is your award. Of course, congratulations. We just talked about some of what you and your squad were able to achieve this year. How does it feel knowing you put your guys in the history books?
You kind of heard me say it, they were special. Just to know that these guys, you know, at the beginning of the season we talked and we knew we could do something maybe we haven't done in school history before, and they did exactly that. to get recognition like this is pretty special, and I want to say thank you. You guys do a great job, and it's awesome to get this. I know there's a lot of other candidates and coaches that could have got this, and I think this is good for our program as well. And I know the coaches, I want to shout out to them because they are a big part of this. I believe this isn't just one person or one coach winning this award. It's really a staff that wins this award in my eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have talked a little bit about having kind of that mentality, and it is a group mentality. It's infectious. And what kind of mentality were you personally trying to instill in your team this season?
Physical, and we've used that word, the whole MPT thing. We wanted to be physical, and I knew if we could do that every game, then we would be in a good position to win most of the games that we were in. And they did exactly that, even in practices too. We preached it during the week in practice. We were still physical there too, and the kids knew come game day that's exactly what the expectation was set on them.
Absolutely. And earlier this week, we talked a little bit about Miller Athletics as a whole. And has it hit you that you've encouraged not only guys going out for football, but other kids to join the athletic programs?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I also coached track too, but now it's basketball season, so I want those guys to go from football to basketball season, after basketball right to either baseball or track. To I think that's good for all student athletes to continue to play sports all year long. It only helps, especially at our small school. It helps us for those other sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Coach. And again, congratulations. And we're excited to see what you're able to accomplish in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let's switch gears and jump into another conference rundown with the FAC, where new contenders emerged and...
Starting in Greenfield, the McLean Tigers took a step back after making their first playoff game ever last year, finishing 1-9 and placing last in the conference. Tying for fourth, the Chillicothe Cavaliers got off to a slow start, stumbling out to an 0-7 record but won 2 of their last 3 games to give the Cavs some momentum heading into 2025. Also tied for fourth, the Hillsboro Indians started off their season 3-4 and looked like they could have made a last-second push for the playoffs, however lost 2 of their last 3 games to miss the playoffs after making the postseason in 2023. Finishing tied for second, Washington Courthouse was one of the better stories of the 2024 season. The Blue Lions started 0-5 but rattled off 3 FAC wins to finish above 500 in conference play. Tied for second is Washington's arch rival Miami Trace, who had lofty expectations this season. The Panthers stormed out to a 6-1 start but lost 3 of their last 4 games, including their playoff game against St. Mary's Memorial. Finally, the 4P FAC champion Jackson Ironman got the job done once again. Despite a 3-2 start, Jackson went undefeated in conference play and won its first round playoff game before falling to Bishop Watterson.
That was the voice of FAC lead reporter Grant Kiefer, who also had the chance to sit down with our next Player of the Year candidate, the big man from Miami Trace, Adam Guthrie.
Well, you've seen the guy, you've heard of him, we now have him here. Adam Guthrie, offensive lineman from Miami Trace. He's a junior. He's the only junior on our list this year. I mean, what does it mean to have one more season to work at this?
It means a lot. Trying to come back and win more games with my team, my family. Just come back and win his title.
Coming out to games myself, it's been hard to find a parking spot at some games. I mean, the community's really showing out for you guys this year. Just what does it mean to just have everyone's back?
Definitely, we struggled for a little bit as a football program, but us getting back on path and us having multiple players who make an impact and having the fans look up and just seeing all the fans there means a lot to us.
Can you just talk to me a little bit about offensive line technique? I think a lot of our viewers know offensive linemen as the really big, just tall guys to protect the quarterback. Just what really goes into it that the average fan might not see?
It's a lot harder than people think. Playing left tackle, my quarterback's right-handed, so protecting his blind side, he can't see where my guy's coming. And being out on an island on pass pro and trying to move a guy every single play of the game is a lot harder than people think.
Your brother, Andrew Guthrie, he played here, graduated in 2023, playing at the next level now at Campbell University. What do you take away most from his game?
Definitely. So we played 2 games together my freshman year, and just being beside him, playing beside him was a cool experience, but he's definitely taught me how to be the football player I am today. Definitely looked up to him. He definitely is my supporter.
Being an offensive lineman to win this award would mean a lot, I'm sure. First offensive lineman to ever win the award, would be the second non-skill position player to ever win it. Jaden Ball was up here on the same stage last year, didn't walk away with it. Just what would it mean for you to win it as an offensive lineman and just for yourself in general?
That would mean a lot. Usually offensive linemen don't ever get recognized for these type of awards. I think Jaden had a great season last year, definitely. I think he was well deserving of it last year. But it means a lot for me personally, just because I've never won this type of award. It shows the work I've been putting in, and just for every offensive line after me, it shows that they can win it too.
Adam Guthrie, Miami Trace. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
Thanks. Now, I personally think the term instant classic is overused, but we saw quite a few games that would fit that definition. Out of all of them, the Bloom Carroll Bishop Hartley rematch outshines the rest and is the Gridiron Glory game of the year. The Hawks and the Bulldogs first played in Week 8, with Bishop Hartley winning by 2 touchdowns. The two were back and forth throughout the night, with Hawks exercising their intense run game and the Bulldogs showcasing their dynamic offense. In the end, it came down to a forced turnover on downs to secure Hartley's lead and ultimately their spot in the playoffs, which is ironic because the same team that granted Hartley passage into the playoffs was also the one to end their run in the first round. This game was an incredulous back-and-forth match from the jump. In the first half, Bulldog Ethan Thanthanavong showcased his need for speed and mobility, continually trying to edge ahead. But the Hawks carried a similar mantra, retaliating with touchdowns of their own. The lead changed like clockwork, and Hartley realized that's what it would take to win. Clockwork. Their next drive took 9 minutes and ended with a tutty. But they left Bloom with too much time in a vendetta. On 3rd and 37, Thanthanavong went long, finding Michael Stevenson in a sea of Hawks. Next play, and Thanthanavong finishes the drive himself to put the game away 44-43. What a game for the Bulldogs, but that's not the only place they found success this season. This caused quite a stir in the MSL-Buckeye as well, and Charlie Ehlenfeld is joining us now to tell us all about it.
Thanks, Haley. The more things changed in the MSL-Buckeye this year, the more they stayed the same.
Bloom Carroll Bulldogs took the conference for the 6th consecutive year. In the playoffs, the Bulldogs claimed a thriller over Bishop Hartley 44-43 in the first round and fell 29-17 to Licking Valley in the second round. Ethan Thanthanavong was their leader, claiming MSL Player of the Year and First Team All-District. The Logan Elm Braves broke through for their first non-COVID playoff win this year since 2009. The Braves had another high-flying offense this year, led by Gridiron Glory Player of the Year finalist running back Michael Bach. Fairfield Union had their own breakthrough this year, earning their first home playoff game since 2006. Despite falling at home this year, the Falcons were powered by their dual all-district running backs Owen Rups and Isaiah Saleh. Amana Clear Creek emerged from a disappointing 3-7 team last year to a 6-5 playoff team this year. Led by Coach of the Year finalist Chet Somm, the Aces righted the ship to earn a playoff bid before falling to Portsmouth. Hamilton Township had massive shoes to fill from last year's class, but found their footing mid-season. Unfortunately for the Rangers, late-season losses kept them out of the dance. Circleville took big strides this year, improving by 3 wins from last year. With a substantial junior class, they should be a threat for the Buckeye next year. Liberty Union boasted a solid offense this year, but they allowed the most points in a single season in school history and had just 2 wins.
Another year, another title for the Bulldogs, and it helps to have stability at the top.
It does indeed. For 3 years, the Bulldogs have a combined record of 33-8 behind one player. Our next Player of the Year candidate, Ethan Thanthanavong. Well, thanks for coming on the show with us, Ethan. And, my first question, your run here at Bloom Carroll has been incredible. And you started with Jeremy McKinney. Your first year, his first year, you go to the state title. What was that year like?
People weren't really ready for us, to do that well that year. I think we knew that we had the talent to get to where we wanted to go, and we did.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about some more talent. You had some new guys on this team, new faces, Rusty, you had Jude Blair on this team. But you guys had the second best offense in school history. When did you know this was special, and how did you gel with those guys so well?
I think we knew it was special when we got into the summer workouts. We started working on our offense, and we saw we had some talent again. And, this year we just went out and showed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you've had some crazy plays this year. You had the 3rd and 37. We already talked about it tonight. You know, you've had some incredible moonshots to Rusty, and, you know, you had some fancy footwork against Logan Elm. You know, I couldn't believe. But which one really stands out to you?
I'd say what shocks me most, what probably shocks people most, is my footwork this year. I really worked on that this offseason, and my speed too. Yeah,
and one final question. I mean, what are you going to miss the most about playing for Bloom Carroll in high school football?
Definitely being at Carl Phillips Stadium every Friday night. Just the atmosphere was amazing, and the community always came out and showed love to us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. And Ethan, love the jerseys. Thanks for coming on. Now, I mentioned the jersey because throughout the season, we've had what we call a jersey showdown, where everyone had the chance to vote for their favorite jerseys on Gridiron Glory Twitter and Instagram. Voting for our 2 finalists, Bloom Carroll and Waverly, closed yesterday, so now it's time to see who won. The polls were closed yesterday, but our winner pulled away by a singular vote. And the jersey that won was the Bloom Carroll Bulldogs. The people have decided you guys have the coolest jerseys in our coverage. Look at that. And even though the showdown is over, there's still a lot to check out on our social media. For photos, recaps, highlights, and more, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube to get the latest updates on what's happening on the gridiron. There's nothing small about the amount of action we saw this year in the next conference, regardless of the name. Reporter Andrew Bowlby has more on the MVL-Small.
New Lexington had one of the best seasons in school history, finishing 11-2 and winning 2 playoff games. The Panthers claimed their second MVL-Small title in 3 years. Their senior class, led by Isaiah Stevens, Bentley Hansen, and Carson Kellogg, took New Lex the furthest it had been in 16 years. West Muskingum finished second in the MVL-Small with a record of 9-3 on the year. The Tornadoes were 4-1 in conference play and won 2 playoff games in the same season for the first time in school history. Maysville got off to a tough start on the year, but turned it around, going 3-3 in their final 6 games, plus winning their last 2 against MVL-Small opponents by a combined 10 points. Meadowbrook finished the season at 4th in the MVL-Small. The Colts began their year winning 4 of their first 7 games, however, they came up winless in their final 3. Coshocton began the season losing 7 straight games, including 3 to conference teams. However, they were able to win 2 of the final 3 games to finish the year 2-8 overall and 1-4 in MVL play. To round out the MVL-Small, Crooksville finished the season with 4 wins for the first time since 2017. The Ceramics also took down MVL-Big School Morgan, marking the first time they beat an MVL team since the 2020 season.
Let's stay in MVL country because you can't forget about the MVL-Big. One word to describe this conference and these teams would be thrilling, and I think Stephen Curley would agree.
Absolutely, Haley. I mean, the MVL-Big was nothing short of exciting this year. The Big even produced one of our Player of the Year candidates. But before we get to that, let's take a look back.
Starting from the bottom, the Riverview Black Bears finished in 6th and last place in the MVL Big with an 0-9 regular season record and an 0-5 conference record. Now we enter a 3-way tie for 3rd that starts with the Morgan Raiders. This is Morgan's first year switching from the MVL Small to the Big, and they managed to pick up 2 conference wins while posting a 2-8 overall record. The John Glenn Muskies are in the middle of the 3-way 3rd place tie after another solid season as they finished with a 5-5 overall record and a 2-3 conference record. On top of the 3-way tie for 3rd is the Philo Electrics. The Electrics also finished at 5-5 with a 2-3 conference record, but Philo also made the playoffs but weren't able to make it past the first round. After making the regional final last year, the Sheridan Generals clock in at 2nd again this year. The Generals finished with a 6-4 overall record and a 4-1 conference record. Sheridan just missed the Region 11 playoffs this year and are looking to reload with more experience next season. Finally, the Tri-Valley Scotties finished atop the MVL Big. The Scotties finished 10-0 for the 3rd time in school history this season while earning a 3 seed in Region 11. Tri-Valley also beat conference teams by an average of 40 points.
And I have a feeling that Tri-Valley offense, averaging over 40 a game, had some big-time playmakers.
100%. The Scotties tried out stars like Jaden Wallace, Kean Hahn, and of course, the quarterback with every single passing record in their books, Player of the Year candidate, Max Lyall. Max, thank you for making the drive out tonight. How are you feeling?
Good. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So first of all, what does it mean to be nominated for this Player of the Year award, and what would it mean to bring it home tonight?
I mean, it'd mean a lot to me and the community of Dresden, and come from a small town. Awards like this don't come often, so it'd be great to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I was talking to Coach Cam West earlier in the season, and he told me that, you know, you've started all 4 years at quarterback, but in your freshman year, you also started at linebacker for a little bit. Just tell me what that was like.
Yeah, it gave me a different perspective about the game and learned different coverages and how to read defenses, and it helped me a lot as a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this season, you threw for over 30 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. Your whole career, you've thrown over 100 touchdowns to only 18 interceptions. What does it mean for you to not turn over the ball and to protect the ball?
Yeah, I mean, turnovers win and lose games, and Coach West has bred that into me since a freshman, and it helped a lot to win games this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we mentioned earlier, you own every single passing record in the Tri-Valley books. What does it mean to be etched in the record books like that?
I mean, it means a lot, but I give all the credit to my O-line and my receivers. I'm lucky to be able to play with great players like that.
Absolutely. Love it, Max. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steven, and thank you, Max, for joining us. While quarterbacks are a crucial part of every offense, it takes more than one guy to make it happen. And every player on our All-GG offense team has been huge for their team this season.
To kick off our All-GG lineup, we have quarterback Ethan Thanthanavong from the Bloom Carroll Bulldogs. Thanthanavong has 2,223 yards on the season with 21 passing touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns, and a 68.1% completion rate.
The second of all GG QBs is Tri-Valley senior Max Lyall. Lyall has been a field general for the Scotties this season, leading them to an 11-2 record. Lyall was named the MVL Overall Player of the Year, Quarterback of the Year, and landed a spot on the All-MVL First Team.
Starting with the running back position is Fort Fry's Clayton Miller, the staple of the Cadets' backfield. Making the All-Eastern District Division VI First Team, Clayton picked up over 1,800 yards from scrimmage, including 1,600 on the ground, and 19 total touchdowns through 12 games.
The second running back on this list is senior Michael Bach from Logan Elm. Bach received first-team All-Conference and All-District honors. He led the Braves to 8 wins this season behind his impressive 1,746 total yards and 24 touchdowns.
Next up is Eastern Eagles running back Tyler Hill. The All-TVC running back has over 1,200 all-purpose yards, averaging over 10 per play. 14 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown, 27 tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 interceptions, and 2 of them pick sixes.
Next up at the running back position is Northwest's Carter Runyon. Runyon was one of 12 finalists for the Gridiron Glory Player of the Year, dominating on the ground all season long. He ran for over 1,200 yards and 20 touchdowns on the year, including a 5-touchdown performance against Waverly.
Coming up is Ironton's star receiver Shaun Terry. Terry's 1,290 all-purpose yard, double-digit touchdowns, and elusive ability was crucial to the Ironton offense, earning first-team All-District honors in Division V with his sights on a state championship.
Another all-star wideout is New Lex's Bentley Hansen, who racked up over 1,400 receiving yards for the season to go along with 19 receiving touchdowns. His performance led the Panthers all the way to the regional semifinals, helping him get nominated as the MVL-Small's overall Player of the Year.
Wide receiver 1 for the Waverly Tigers is up next. Mason Pollard finished the regular season with 880 receiving yards on 46 receptions, as well as adding 11 touchdowns. He was also named to the first-team All-District as a wide receiver.
Next up, we've got Jackson wide receiver Ryan Simets. In the regular season, he snagged 45 passes for 881 yards and took it to the barn 11 times. Simets earned first-team All-FAC honors. His ability to create separation from defenders on double moves sets him apart from the competition.
Moving to the tight end position, we've got senior Dustin Vance for Megs. Vance was an elite receiving threat, posting 53 receptions, 819 yards, and 14 touchdowns. These numbers also earned him all TVC-Ohio honors.
Michael Stevenson had Thanthanavong's back all year as a reliable blocker and receiver, racking up 274 yards. He proved his worth in the playoffs with 85 yards against Bishop Hartley and was named to the All-MSL and All-District First Teams.
Now let's move to the O-line. First up for the big fellas is Miami Trace's Adam Guthrie. He totaled 89 pancakes, didn't allow a sack, and get this, didn't allow a single pressure in his 7 games this year. He was first-team All-FAC and is a finalist for our Player of the Year award.
Next up for all GG team is Grove City Christian offensive lineman Jaden Patterson. This 6'3" and 320-pound lineman was awarded first-team All-Central District Division VI. He He anchored his line, leading his team's impressive rushing attack that averaged 7.5 yards per carry and a total of 23 rushing touchdowns.
The next lineman on our list is Portsmouth West senior Cade Woods. Woods was a dominant force for the Senators up front, being a crucial piece to their high-flying rushing attack. Woods was named to the Southeast District 6 first team and was named the district's Lineman of the Year.
Next up, we've got Unioto's Ben Griffin. Griffin has held it down all year long for the Shermans. His tenacity in the trenches fueled his team's rushing attack and earned him a spot on the Southeast-Ohio All-District First Team, where he was crowned as the Lineman of the Year.
Our fifth offensive lineman on the list is Tri-Valley's very own senior Gavin Spiker. Spiker was a dominant force on the line, providing protection for his boy Max Lyall. Spiker was crowned first All-Team MVL and won the MVL's 2024 Offensive Lineman of the Year award.
Next up for the O-line is Jackson's Jacob Allen. This 6'3" junior was a key asset for the Ironman front line. Allen has received recognition the past 2 years for the Division III Southeast Ohio All-District Lineman of the Year and First Team All-FAC.
Next up for the offensive lineman is 6'5" senior Landon Evans. The dual-sport athlete for Willisburg who had a breakout senior season. He was a key piece of defending the Pirates QB as he picked up a first-team All-District and led his team to a Division V Regional Finals appearance.
Our next lineman is senior Brennan Tomlin from Nelsonville, York. The 6'3", 275-pound center wears number 77 for the Buckeye offense. Tomlin was a key part of this rush-heavy offense and made first-team All-District and All-TVC.
Next up, we have Eli Stevens from New Lexington. Stevens wears number 75 and is the center of this Panthers offense. He was named Defensive Lineman of the Year in the MVL and also got first-team All-District at the offensive line spot in Division IV. Eli has been a good reason why New Lexington has had a successful season this year.
Rounding out the offense is Valley's kicker Jalen Bender. The junior was automatic this season for the Indians. Bender nailed a 47-yard field goal to beat Northwest in Week 6, which was a school record. He was also honored with first-team All-District.
There's probably a couple guys on there that you recognize from TVC-Hocking talk throughout the year. So let's look back at their seasons with Maddie Kiefer.
Haley, the TVC-Hocking is unique in that the majority of the conference not only looks the same, but teams even ended with the same records. That being said, the only change was at the top spot.
Starting off at the bottom of the conference are the Belpre Golden Eagles and the Southern Tornadoes, who both ended with the exact same records as last year, 1-9 and 3-7 respectively. In third place sits the Trimble Tomcats, but don't let their standing fool you. The Tomcats are legitimate contenders, and they only lost to the top 2 seeds by a combined 7 points. Now, the change starts. The Eastern Eagles were heavy favorites to win the conference title once more, and it was going well until Waterford completed a comeback win, giving the Eagles their first conference loss since 2022 and stealing the title. The Eagles will be losing running back Tyler Hill, who scored 19 total touchdowns, and the reigning TVC-Hocking defensive MVP, Gavin Murphy. Finally, the Waterford Wildcats took back the top spot with an 8-2 regular season record. The Wildcats were led by TVC-Hocking offensive MVP Hayden Jones, who had his breakout season, scoring 22 total touchdowns. That being said, there was one Achilles heel in the Wildcats season, the Fort Fry Cadets, who handed them a regular season loss and knocked them out of the playoffs. Also exciting for the TVC-Hocking is the Federal Hocking Lancers will become a partial member of the conference come next year.
Well, that wraps up all the conferences we covered this year, but not the action within them. Every week, we've compiled the top 5 plays of the night, but what we're about to go through are our top 10 of the year. Starting with play number 10, this one was our top play in Week 9. Vinton County QB Jace Moore airs one out to Lane Habron in double coverage. The ball's tipped right off the hands of the defender and into Habron's lap. What a play. Play number 9 is another top play, this time from Week 8. It's Jackson-Miami Trace, where Panther Austin Brown proved that if you can put him in control, he'll bring the rock home. There's no slowing down Brown. He leaves his competition in the dust and in the process puts his team up. Week 4 brought us our 8th best play of the year. New Lexington's Carson Kellogg appears to be stuffed on the 2-point try, but thanks to this heads-up play, the ball's pitched to QB Isaiah Stevens, and he goes in untouched. Our 7th best play of the year is also from New Lex. Isaiah Stevens again chucking it all the way to the house where Bentley Hansen's keeping the door wide open, even with a Logan Elm defender around his neck. My goodness. We're almost to our top 5, but first you've got to see this Ironton play. Braden Schreck looking for someone, and who else but Shaun Terry. Terry immediately drops a defender, says night night, and it's lights out. That's 75 yards to the house. Doesn't matter when, doesn't matter where. This guy's always ready to make an insane play. Number 5 is from the Week 6 Bloom Carroll and Fairfield Union game. This might look like a regular return, but just give it a second because Bo Sherman is a bulldog and a bulldozer, just wrecking anything in his path and making Falcon defenders fly side to side in an attempt to take him down. And with all that momentum behind him, he just keeps going. And 4 more left. This one is from Wellston versus Oak Hill. Now watch carefully. You might think that you know where this ball's going, but Rocket Kalefot is ready for takeoff, and he snags it. 3rd best play of the year requires a little bit of setup, so let me set the stage. Clock's at 0, Dragons down 8, and here comes Keegan Smith getting in front of Portsmouth defenders to grab the ball, and a tutty. Well done. Rolling in at number 2, the Miller Falcons. With a little bit of bowling, just wait, you'll understand. Yeah, Xander Bice is an absolute unit. He's just trucking through tornadoes like they're nothing. And finally, he's home free. Oh my goodness. And finally, our top play of the year comes out of Jackson, but from a fighting tiger. You guessed it, Shaun Terry. He had a play earlier on the list, but his evasive maneuvers continue to put him right back at the top. I mean, how does he get through that much traffic? And then he is home free all the way to the house. After 14 weeks, the time is finally here to reveal the Gridiron Glory Season 25 Player of the Year. Every finalist put on a stellar season, but this envelope contains the name of the player who was voted the best. So let's find out. The 2024 Player of the Year is Shaun Terry. And Shaun wasn't able to physically be here tonight, but he is joining us live. Congratulations. We know it's been a long night, so thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling?
Like I said, I feel nothing but blessed right now. Yeah, it's an honor to be a GOP.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. And just hours ago, you found out you'll be playing in the state Final Four. What's going through your head right now?
Just to go 1-0. We want to win the state championship, and yeah, our goal is just go 1-0.
Now, you're only one of a couple wide receivers to win this award. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me, but I mean, the only reason why I got the win is because of Braden Schreck, my quarterback, and just my teammates and my family, and I just want to give it to them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shaun, for joining us. We appreciate it. We're excited to see what you do in the coming weeks. And and don't forget, we'll be seeing Terry in Ironton next Friday in the Final Four matchup, so make sure to check out our socials before and after for more content. Unfortunately, like I said, we'll be seeing Terry in Ironton next Friday in the Final Four matchup, so make sure you check out our social media before and after for all the content. Unfortunately, that does bring us to the end of the evening in Gridiron Glory Season 25. It has been an incredible honor to spend these last 14 Fridays with you all, and I couldn't be more grateful to you for allowing us to cover your teams and communities. I'd like to think we've had it right for the last 25 years, because there is truly nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
Support comes from Ohio's 529 College Advantage, helping families save tax-free for college and career training nationwide for 35 years. Information on Ohio's 529 can be found at collegeadvantage.com/Bobcats. Support comes from O'Neill Hartman Insurance, a full-service, third-generation, locally owned agency focusing on building personal relationships and providing professional service to individuals and businesses. Information on the web and on Facebook. Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient TempStar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring TempStar quality you can feel. Additional support from Donato's Pizza, featuring pizza, subs, salads, and catering from their Athens location at 688 East State Street. Information at donatospizza.com or 740-592-5049.